Here we go. All right, hello everybody. Welcome to Healy for Beginners and Beyond for Thursday, January 27th, 2022. Jake Barron, Head of Operations for the Americas for Healy. I'll be your host today along with two amazing, as always, co-hosts, Freddie Perez and Ken Close. Always a huge help on this call. So we're gonna, for those of you that haven't been on this call before, this one's a little bit of a different format from our Tuesday, Tech Tip Tuesday call, but that's an open chat-based Q&A type call where you just type questions in the chat and we'll answer them live on the air. This one, we always come out with an agenda in advance of a couple topics we're going to cover. You are always welcome to ask questions in the chat as well. We have someone from our tech support team helping out in the chat. Taylor is on the call today helping out. So thank you, Taylor. But yeah, we will go through these topics today and kind of add some commentary as well as we go. So today we're going to start off with an unboxing of the Healy like we always do. And then today we're actually going to show the difference. So there's a new Healy clip design that's coming out. So in the past, a couple of weeks ago, I showed how to replace the clip and switch to the lanyard attachment. Because that's a common thing that people do, or if you need a replacement clip, that kind of thing, how to remove it, put it back. The newer version, that there's a few that have been shipped out, but in general, it's going to be about another, I think, 6 weeks or so before almost all orders going out with this new design. But it's a metal clip and it's not replaceable. So basically, I'll show you here in a minute, but we'll get into the details there. We'll show and compare the differences between the two. And then we're going to go a little bit into just a quick overview, how to download the apps, Healy Academy overview, because again, this is a topic we like to stress on this call because there's so many resources available there that a lot of people have never even been to the Healy Academy, don't know how to get to the Healy Academy, so we're going to go over that as well. And then we're also going to show our new Healy America's YouTube page that we launched, I think about a month or so ago now. Where we're putting the recordings of this call, our Tech Tip Tuesday calls, and we're going to show you how to get to that, how to navigate that page, how to subscribe to that page. So that is a great resource for everybody as well. And then we plan on talking about HealAdvisor search a little bit on this call if we have time. And again, we always list Q&A if time permits, but it has never permitted on this call. So we'll see how it goes. You never know. Maybe one day we will have time for just to open Q&A again. If you haven't muted your lines yet, please go ahead. Thank you, appreciate it. Okay, so let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen and we'll get started with the unboxing. All right, so this is a fresh Healy. On these calls, typically I go through the same unboxing each time. That one's been open for a while. This one I just opened yesterday because this is the one that has the new clip version in there. But overall, when you get your Healy, the box hasn't changed at all, just the minor change to the Healy device inside. You have of course, the serial number information on the side, the QR code, again, similar information on the short side as well. The bottom here is just a blank slate, and that's why we always recommend, thanks to Ken's tip here, to put your little packing slip that comes in the box right on there. Keep this handy, put it, after you take everything out, keep this in the drawer. You can keep accessories in here, extra cables in there, whatever it may be. It's always a good thing to kind of have on hand. So just keep that in mind when you get your package. Typically it'll have a Healy device. And then for every order that has a Healy device, also has a pair of wristbands that come separately. They're not in the Healy box itself, but they're in the shipping box. So when you open the box, make sure you're on the lookout for them because most of the orders have some sort of packing material, crumpled paper, that kind of thing in there. So go ahead, remove all that, but make sure you look for these before you throw away all the rest of the packaging that comes in there. And then, most orders as well come with a Healy coil. We're temporarily out of stock and those will be back in stock second half of next month. But this is what the Healy coil box itself looks like. And then inside that, you just have the Healy coil here. So again, more than half of our orders typically do ship for a new device with a Healy coil as well these days. So this comes shrink wrapped from the factory in Germany. So the first thing you're going to do is just pull that shrink wrap off and then open it up. First thing you have inside is a very short quick start guide. So this is, a couple pages, very simple to read through. It's got a couple information on what some of the lights do, the indicators, if they're flashing a certain way, what comes in the box. Just read through that real quick. And then underneath you have a longer instructions for use document. So this is instructions for use specifically for the device. There's also a Healy manual too that's available through our apps. Each of our apps has a information section where you can access the manuals, but the manuals are also available in your Healy back office as well in the download section. But this one's longer, but it's certainly you want to read through this if you've never used a Healy before. Again, an important resource right here to go through. And then underneath both of those, you have the Healy device itself sitting here. You just kind of pull the Healy device out of the tray. And then we'll kind of just show here on the front, there's one button on the Healy, that's it. There's a power button right in the middle. And then on the opposite sides, you have a blue Bluetooth light, and then there's a green power light as well. And then on the reverse side here, we have that similar QR code that we showed on the box. That's available on here as well, the serial number, some of the manufacturing information, certifications, things like that are available here. On the bottom side here, we have the connection cable ports. These are two equally sized ports right here. That's where the cables that I'm wearing right now hook up to. We'll show that here in a minute. And then on the opposite side, we have the micro USB port. So that's where you're going to charge your Healy device. And the first thing you're going to want to do after you take your Healy out is take this tray out here, and then underneath, we'll see here what comes in there. We've got this little micro USB charging cable. So this is the first thing you're going to want to take out of there, because the Healy device itself takes a couple of hours to charge. So you're going to want to take this out of here, plug the micro USB into where we showed on the Healy device itself. So you got to make sure you line this up the right way, because they can only be inserted one direction because the top is bigger than the bottom. So make sure you line it up and don't try to force it in too much. It's a snug fit, but it makes a little bit of a I'd say a snapping noise. Hold on a second here. Again, be careful when you line it up, and if it's not going in there, check that you have it turned the right way, because you don't want to force that port there into the Healy itself. If you put enough force on it, it is possible that could happen. So, but get that plugged in there, and then on the opposite side is just a standard USB. So you can plug this into pretty much any wall USB charging block. Definitely charge it on a wall charger. Don't try to charge this the first time on a laptop. You'll get much better results through a good quality wall charger there. And then as soon as you plug this in, this power light's going to come on, the green power light, and it's going to stay on until it's charged. So you don't have to there's no guessing if it's on the wall charger. Is it charged yet? Is it fully charged? Is it fully charged? Just wait till the light goes off, and it's fully charged, and you can go ahead and use it. So that's pretty simple indicator there. It's very simple. Again, there's not a lot of lights or buttons or anything. But on the opposite side, we'll just show here real quick the two charging ports. So again, I'm wearing my Healy right now, and I'm actually, charging or using one of the Pink Dot app programs with the wristbands. But we'll just show here. Let me just unplug these. And again, this is what you're talking about here. These wristbands here are what I have hooked up to the connection cables. And those connection cables, of course, come in the box here. They're twist tied, bundled up here. You got a snap on one side, and then the part that actually plugs into the Healy on the other side. So if you take your Healy, line up the part that goes into the Healy, the connection cable, plug it in. It's a snug fit, but make sure you put that in fully, or else you're not going to have issues when you're running your Pink Dot app. You're going to get the black line going around the circle instead of the white line which means there's not the proper conductivity. So go ahead and do that. That's where those plug in. If you're using the coil, again, most of our orders do come with a coil these days. So instead of the charging ports that are on the connection cables, it's these ports, these prongs here on the coil itself are what plug into those two connection cable ports. So when you take your coil, this slides underneath the clip itself. So it doesn't go over it, it doesn't go around it. You slide it under the clip. And then when you're doing this, you're going to make sure you line up these two prongs with the connection cable ports and then fully insert it into the Healy itself. So again, that's usually a pretty snug fit there as well. Just make sure it's fully inserted so you're not walking around with your Healy and your coil comes loose, falls off. That's a sad, sad day if you ever are out and you lose your coil and you come home and where did it go? So be careful, make sure you have that fully inserted there and you'll be good to go. So what else comes in the box other than the connection cables, the charging cable? We have adhesive electrodes. So every Healy device comes with 2 pairs of adhesive electrodes. And again, so certain programs call for the adhesive electrodes, specifically the pain programs that we have. You'll notice when you run those, it'll show the different areas on the body where you might be putting these adhesive electrodes. But if you're using these instead of the wristbands, instead of snapping them onto the wristbands, you're just going to snap them on to the adhesive electrode, peel it off the plastic, and then position it on the body where it's wherever the particular issue you're trying to help is. You know, sometimes you lower back, upper back, knee, something like that. Just follow sort of where it shows on that diagram there, and you'll be good to go. And so let me just show you real quick. Let me hook mine back up so I get the proper conductivity here. Where did my other cable go? So we're going to show you now the difference in the cable. So actually, let me take these back off because I need to show you here. So like I mentioned on the prior, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, we showed how to remove this clip. So since I guess the beginning of Healy here in the US, this is the clip that has come with the Healy device. It's a plastic clip, and typically inside the box, there's a little lanyard attachment. So you can switch to and from lanyard versus the Healy clip itself. So this one, again, pre-installed with the clip. And if you want to switch to the lanyard attachment, you can go ahead and use a small sort of a watch repair tool. If you go on our YouTube channel later, I'll show you where we had that particular video and exactly how to get to that segment where we showed how to make that switch from the clip to the lanyard attachment. So anyway, this is the one how it's been, and the one how it's switching to here over the next month or two is right next to it. So, you know, at a glance, it looks, you know, obviously pretty similar, but when you take a closer look at these, you'll see that whereas this one on the top, you can actually replace it. This one is actually built into the housing. So there's no way to take this clip actually off of the Healy device and switch to a lanyard attachment. Again, you'll see these two here side by side, but you'll notice, you know, when some of the people we talked to when we first mentioned that you can no longer switch from the clip to the lanyard attachment, people that are using the lanyard, of course, well, what am I going to do? You know, like, what am I going to do without the lanyard attachment? But you'll notice at the top here on this new clip design, there's a hole right in the top there. So again, metal clip, it's more secure into the Healy device itself, and you don't need to switch to a lanyard attachment if you have one of these new designs. So here I have just a Healy lanyard that we were using at one of the road shows, and this is a pretty standard attachment at the end of most lanyards. And you'll see that I can just take this and slide this right in here. And then we're going to put this through the hole. So there you go, lanyard attachment built in. So no need to go back and forth. You know, this is certainly as Healy evolves over time, we'll make little tweaks to the design like this to improve the functionality, the durability, everything like that. So this is kind of, again, I think only a few of these have actually shipped from the warehouse. That's going to be probably into early March before all orders are shipping that have this new design. But this is kind of a heads up. If anyone in your group or organization gets one, you're not like, what do you mean? What do you mean you can't replace the clip? What do you mean the clip's metal? Where did you get your Healy from? So this is how it is going to look going forward. It's definitely going to be a good thing. And if you ever lose your Healy, if you have one with a plastic clip now, if you lose your Healy, need a replacement or whatever in the future, starting probably sometime again into March, this is the one that would be shipped out as a replacement. So that is a little bit of an overview of the Healy unboxing, the new clip. I'm going to pass it over to you, Freddie, now. If you could show us a little bit, just a quick overview of how to download those, where to go to download those apps, how to download the apps, and then we'll go into where you can find Healy Academy as well.
Okay, perfect. Boy, those new designs on the Healy housing, those are going to be sought after very quickly, I'm sure. So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. What an excellent job as always, Ken, or excuse me, Jake. All right. And Ken too. And Ken too. All right. Give me 1 second here. I just need to share my screen.
All right. They're coming up here. I can.
Yes, it should be coming up here. Should be coming up here. Oh goodness.
Let me know if we need to. If we need to share something, I could go ahead and, if necessary, switch over. So.
Well, while that's booting up, there was a couple of questions in the background in the chat.
Okay.
One basically addressing the clip and Nell missing that little A-frame piece that would actually allow the lanyard to be connected via the spring-loaded little pin. And you know, so if that's lost, you know, that version is being superseded by this new system. So unfortunately, that little piece itself is not available as like an accessory or something. So the other option you can do though is if you still have that little spring-loaded bar, you can put the spring-loaded bar in place. You can actually thread a piece of strap through that, and then it can be a lanyard attachment in that fashion. So that's possible. But again, to try to change out that anything else you won't have any other accessory pieces. So Nell was just talking about how to hook a lanyard to hers because
yeah, I mean, as long as actually even if you do have the clip on there, you don't necessarily need to remove the clip to attach the lanyard part itself to it. Just put the lanyard underneath the clip itself and then wear it around your neck. So there's certainly lots of options, and you could also just tie a little bit of, like Ken mentioned, a string, whatever, to the very top of it, and then hook the lanyard to it, or put one of those little rings around it. So you might have to get a creative, but there's certainly lots of ways that you can wear your Healy. And just as a clarification, this new clip, if you can't get a metal replacement clip for your old Healy edition that has a plastic clip, it doesn't fit. There's no way to interchange the metal. Yeah. It's actually, the housing is a little bit different. The back housing is a little bit different on this new version too. So,
yeah. Yeah, and over the past year or so, we've seen some folks very creative, right? I saw one time at a meeting, a lady took a ribbon out of her hair and used it as her temporary lanyard. So
there you go. Yeah.
A lot of creativeness going on. All right, so we finally got my phone to start doing its job. So what we're going to do today is I'm just briefly going to show everyone. You go to your app store, respectively. This is an Apple phone. So you see in the middle there, the little app store. So it's not the Apple store, it's the app store. So it's the little icon. You know, what I refer to it as like 3 popsicle sticks that have been put together to make the letter A. So when you tap on that, what you'll want to do is up there where it says search, right? So you'll just go in there and you'll type in Healy app, and you'll see it's populated there. And then when it comes up, you're going to look for the app that has the little Healy circle icon with the little magenta or the little peak dot, as we call it. Right, it's right there. So I already have, of course, this loaded onto my phone. Okay, so when it loads, you can open it from here, or it's going to drop an icon. So if you see down on the bottom left of the screen, there's that same little app icon, Healy with the little dot in it. And so now you're ready to open up and start your Healy. Okay, so you'll just turn your Healy on. And once you have it on, go ahead and open up that app. It's going to ask you a couple of permissions here, right? And so I always suggest allow everything that it's asking. You'll go through the notice, which is just some disclosures, the same thing with that GTC. Again, I'm going to go ahead and allow by clicking OK. And then it's going to now start the search to now connect with my Healy device, with my phone. And as you see there, this is the screen we're waiting for. You simply tap that scan QR code, and then I'm going to say OK to allow that access. And then I'm going to move my phone over so that it will pick up the QR code. There it is. And you'll see now the QR code for my Healy device is populated. You simply tap connect, and you'll see that wheel starting to spin. Sometimes it will spin quick, sometimes it will slow down, but let it go through. It gets you to this screen. This is like a demo screen. And what we're waiting for is a little screen to pop up that's going to say an update is available. You can also click on the settings tab there, and then you can go and check for updates. There's the little pop-up we're waiting for. You tap OK. And now this is going to go through. As soon as it finishes loading up, it's going to say update of the programs. Now you'll see all of the programs associated with your edition are here and they're ready to run. So you'll go through the same steps if you're using an Android phone, if you're using an iPad, or you're using a Android tablet like a Tab A. And that's pretty much how simple it is to get to the app stores, download the app. And again, you'll go through the same steps if you have the HealAdvisor Analyze app. We affectionately call that the Blue Dot app, the Watch app, or the HealAdvisor Search app. You'll go through those same steps to load them up onto your smart devices. So I'm going to go ahead and stop screen share here, Jake, unless you have something else you'd like for me to share. You're on mute, sir.
Okay, sorry. I was gonna say on this, just as a kind of just a heads up, the Healy device itself ships by default at the low current setting. So if you're brand new to Healy, you get your Healy device, maybe you demoed it with somebody else, and then you were using the Healy and you put the wristbands on, the adhesive electrodes, and you felt the tingling, and you're like, okay, that's an interesting sensation, and turn it down a little bit. You might have got your new Healy, run the same programs, and be like, I don't feel anything. Most likely in a situation like that, the person whose Healy you had it set to the high current setting. So basically, a lot of people are very sensitive to microcurrent. So that's why by default it shifts to the low current. But there's a simple way to switch it to high current. I can post the video here in the chat. And if we have time when we're talking about HealAdvisor Search later, I can kind of just show where that is as well. But that's when you first get your Healy, that's one thing to check. And then you can, Freddie, if you want to go down to the information section here. And so if you see the program addition in the third part down there, Healy 6.0 SPS. SPS is the high current setting. STS is the low current setting. So if you're not sure if your Healy is set to high or low, this is one area you can check. But again, you can also check in the HealAdvisor app itself in the Healy configuration section. Just a heads up there, because I know that's a lot of people when they first get it is one of the things that I don't feel anything. It could be related to that. So.
Excellent, excellent. All right, so I'll go ahead and stop screen share, and we'll go ahead and go to the next topic on our agenda.
Okay. Do we want to go over to Healy Academy now? Let's see here.
Sure can. All
Okay.
right, so let me go ahead and screen share again. Okay, so there are a couple of different places. Here is the my.healy.world. This is your back office. And again, it's going to ask for your username and password. And then when you have those inputted, go ahead and click sign in. And then it's going to take you to your back office. And once you're in your back office, you're going to see up in the top left-hand corner a little hamburger, if you will, and you click on it, it opens up this panel on the side, and where you see my tools. When you click on my tools, you'll see Academy. So when you click on Academy, it's going to open up to a wonderful venue of different areas in the Academy for some additional knowledge. The other place, before we move into here, the other place that you can go is to academy.healy.world. So this is going to take you right into the Academy, okay? So you'll see here we have first steps, apps and support. Now I'm going to move back over into your back office. Here, we have to go to Healy Academy. So when I click that button, it takes us right to the same screen. So if you're wanting just to take and spend some time in the Academy, again, that shortcut is academy.healy.world. Then when you're here, you have some options, live trainings and events, right? So you can click that register here button. Excuse me. Now you can come in and you can look and see what events. For example, the Healy Experience, right? Tuesdays, here's that information for that particular event. And when you scroll down, well, look here, Healy for Beginners and Beyond, right? Let you know right here every Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and the location. And here you can link right into the meeting in this button. So you can do that from here as well. And as you scroll down, you'll see the Spanish speaking meetings are here. Tech Tip Tuesday, it's also here. Again, we try to make this very, very easy in the Academy for you to come and find really, really awesome events and resources here. We're going to move back over to this Academy back office. So let's open up real quick and we're going to look at first steps. So in the first steps, you're going to see getting going with Healy, right? That's the the header here. And when we scroll down, welcome to Healy, a little video here, your business, Healy and its accessories. So listen, if you have a new person that comes on, say between now and next Thursday, what Jake did, and he opened up the Healy box and shared everything in the accessories. You can do the same thing right here with this video as well. Going through and activating the Healy, similar to what I shared with you, where to go to your respective app store. And then it keeps going on with the additional information, overview of the programs, the gold cycle, the program groups. So all of that again is right here in your first steps. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go down, excuse me, the wrong direction. We're going to go back to that screen. Now we're going to open up Learn More. Okay. Again, we have information via videos. Okay. Downloading the app and activation, the Healy programs. So these are a little bit different videos. They help expand in these particular areas. I love this one about the gold cycle, right? Because now you're going to come in here and you're going to learn more about the Pure, the Care, all 7 of the different programs that are based in the gold cycle in your menu, right? Again, the programs groups. So when we scroll back up to the top, now you have some other categories that we could click on. The Analyze app. So that was the gold. Here's the Analyze app. Creating the master key, uploading and using the settings, how to set up the client profile. So again, if you're brand new or you've been here for a minute, this is a great resource to come in for a new overview or just to get some refresher, right? And all these different areas that you may have interest, how the Analyze module works, the bot flower analysis, on and on and on. So there's a total of 11 different videos in here regarding just the HealAdvisor Analyze app. And when we come over to the HealAdvisor app, again here, this is what Jake was referring to about if we have some time today. This is where all of these other apps are going to populate. This is where they're going to live. It's also where you'd be able to go into the settings under the Healy configuration and toggle between that high and low current that Jake was referencing to, right, when we were looking in there. So again, each one of these are going to have some real simple to follow, easy instructions, downloading, installation, usage, tutorials, love those, scheduling for your application plan. I know we've done some great videos in the past on these calls and Tech Tip Tuesday, and those are archived as well. And when we scroll back up here, the Healy Watch. So if you now have a Healy Watch, you're going to be receiving one of those with a future order. Again, all the videos here to help you get a clear understanding how to use it, how to set it up. And then finally here, we're going to look at the Analyze Coach. So I know I'm not familiar as much with the Coach. Jake, would you like to say a few words about these videos here in the Coach?
Well, the coaching module is new, so, and it's so comprehensive and powerful that, you know, everyone's still learning, I would say, about how to get the most out of the coaching module. But here is the best place to start. If you are interested in the coaching module, you just purchased it or thinking about purchasing it, watch all these videos. They are all great. They give you a great overview of some of the key features here. And then also, if you search for some Healy coaching analysis or coaching module videos, there's some additional ones available as well that are a little bit of a deeper dive into this. So
yeah, and I think those are great words of wisdom, right? Because as you mentioned, we're going to have some manuals. There are manuals connected within the apps. But so if you love to read, those are perfect. If you like to have more visual, I always suggest start here before you even begin to go use one of the apps or one of the programs, just so you feel a little bit more comfortable in what you're doing. Okay. So anything else you'd like to add there, Jake?
no, I would, one thing, Freddie, you do a lot of support, tech support for people throughout Healy as well. How many people would you say that come to you for assistance have ever actually been to Academy and are familiar with the resources in Academy?
Well, that is such a great question because, you know, over the past couple of years, very few folks even knew that this resource existed. Okay. And so that's why I think it's such a blessing that we can share with everyone here. And you know what, everyone that's here, share with those that you know. Share with your upline, your downline, a sideline, it don't matter. Just share with them that you were on this call, that you were here. You found out there is some valuable knowledge here via videos. So wouldn't you agree with that, Ken?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, in fact, each module you can go through and answer some questions and actually get a certificate, which is kind of cool to have, just, you know, for your own knowledge and your own inner understanding. And a certificate is really cool because, you know, you can be far ahead of many people who haven't even seen it yet. So great information, great resource here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then we have, excuse me, the support, right? And this is probably one of my favorites. And why? It's because here you can join the Facebook group, and I'm going to share that in just a second. But here it's the FAQs, okay? Your question cannot be answered. See, we want to make it so that if you open up the FAQs, okay, and the question that you have, right? So we're going to type right up in here. Let's just type in here, master key for an example, okay? Then we're going to go ahead and search. Now, all of the answers that are now in the FAQ regarding the master key are here. So this one says key not available, lost. When you click on it, it's going to give you some information. It's going to give you some information that you yourself can come in and look at going to task and see if you can take and figure out how to either find that master key. And, again, I share with people the first place when you're activating your Blue Dot app is to save that master key onto the hard drive of your smart device. It could be in like the iCloud or in the Google Drive, right? Save it there and then back it up to a email account. That way it's always accessible. Okay, always accessible. So those are some of the great resources that I really like here. And you'll see we're broken down into different categories. Okay, so let's just open up the Analyze app, because that tends to be a really hot topic constantly with folks that are getting the new Blue Dot app. So you'll see here, not only do we have a huge amount of questions, and these questions, guess where they come from? They come from folks just like you, folks that are right out there in the field, that they ran into an issue. Maybe they weren't able to get on a Tech Tip Tuesday or a call like this where they could have it addressed, and they don't see it here. Again, that's the benefit of being able to submit those questions, back to support. So that helps us to build this and make it more intuitive for each and every person. Okay. So we talked about having a lot of different resources. And when we come over here right now, we looked at the Academy and we looked at that Facebook. Okay, so there is a Facebook, official Healy Facebook, and you'll see there are resources in here as well. And then, Jake, I know you're going to go and look at the new and improved YouTube, but there is an official Healy site for the YouTube as well.
Yeah, there's an official Healy. So back to Facebook. There's a Healy World Facebook page, which is kind of like the global page, and then we have our Healy World Americas page there as well. Asia Pacific has their own page too. Just so if you're searching for this page, when you just type in Healy World, you'll see a few kind of come up in the listings.
Yeah, you will. All right. I think that's all that I wanted to share here, so we can get on to some further topics. Anything else that you'd like, you or Ken want me to point out before we close out or stop the screen share here?
No,
I think
good
that's
overview of the Academy. Ken, what about?
Awesome.
I think that's a great demonstration. And what one of the features I feel that is probably one of the real important features is that search function. We can actually search FAQs for very specific topics instead of having to scroll through everything. We can get right to the answer right now when we need it. So I love that.
Yeah, that's going to be, there's a big project going on right now for us to update that, add new content, make it easier to search. So we are going to be making some big improvements to this whole FAQ search functionality, everything over the next couple weeks and months. So, and we're always going to be adding to it because new questions constantly come up as we add new apps and features and programs and things like that. So.
We've had some pretty good questions in the background here.
Yeah, I was going to say, kind of, if you wanted, you always do such a great job of explaining the intensity and like not needing. You don't need to feel your arms tingling to know that the things are working. So.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, there is a question in the background around that sensitivity setting from high to low, or why would you want to even do that kind of thing? And understand too, within the app, there is the plus and minus key, which allows more or less current. Now, remember, this is just the current flow, just the microcurrent. This has nothing to do with the range of frequencies. The frequencies are still being adjusted and set based on the resonant need of your body and the function of the program. Okay, that's separate. The intensity is to adjust the actual current flow. Let's look at it this way. This is actually electron flow or electrical flow within the body that Healy is stimulating through the microcurrent modality, through the wires and the wristbands. And I look at it this way. It's kind of a governor, right? So this is for ones who just maybe accidentally go to 100% and they're feeling it way too much and that kind of thing. So if you have it set to low, you're not going to, even if you go to 100%, it's going to be a lower amount of current flow through the body. There's really not necessarily a reason to keep it on low current, because you can sit there and adjust it yourself within the app and regulate it down lower. Because even when you go down to 15%, 10%, 5%, or 0%, you're actually reducing that current all the way down to nothing. And remember, the default is always 15%. So you can do the minus key and actually lower it even more. So just keep in mind that that's possible. All right. Okay. Anything you want to add to that, Freddie?
No, I just wanted to say, sometimes when we're talking about monitoring and we're there and we see that black line goes to white. And so again, because every person's body is different, I was actually just this morning speaking with someone, helping them, and theirs were white even at 0. Okay. Even at 0. And that was on them. And then their husband said, well, let me show you what it does for me. It had to go up to 30 before they went white. Right. So yeah, it's very interesting, how this actually works with each person's body.
The indicator, white or black, or also we have a gray indicator too. Now I'll just understand what that means. Gray, if you see a gray indicator, that just simply means no reading is taken. It's not needed for that program. Okay. But white or black is where we're pretty much focusing on here. White just simply means that it is above the conductive threshold that Healy has set for the current flow, for the frequencies to go through the body. It's above the minimum threshold. So even at 0 current, so this is microcurrent going through the body, just the wires being connected from one wrist to the other, and the body's low resistance, just the connection can allow the frequencies to go through your body. You don't, without the push, I might say, of the current. And some of those frequencies, the lower frequencies, typically below about 400 hertz, require a higher push, a heavier push. In other words, because those frequencies are closer to density, meaning the density of the body to go through. Higher frequencies tend to travel more around the outside parameters of the cells instead of through the center of the cells. And so going through the center of the cells, those lower frequencies are going to need a little more push. So if it's black, kick it up to where it's white on the lower frequencies, and then let that be your preset. I normally tell folks there's a sweet spot. You crank it up to where maybe you just barely feel it, and then down 1 notch. You don't need to feel the current flow or the zapping or the tingling or whatever. You don't need to feel it to actually get the effects of the frequencies within the cell structure. Okay. So just know that that's not necessary.
Yeah.
Ken, but what's interesting on that, excuse me, Jay, but what's interesting on that fact, Ken, so many folks over time, they said, well, yeah, I had to feel that tingling sensation in my fingers to know that it was working. Right. Well, I mean, that is a good indication, right? So now it's proof positive it is working for you. But like you said, just tone it down a little bit. That needs to be comfortable if you need to feel it at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, would that also explain why, if you're using your Healy and you see the frequency change, where at a very high frequency, not changing the intensity, you might not feel anything. It might drop down to 0.5 hertz or 1 hertz, and then all of a sudden you feel, like, as you just mentioned, Ken, it's going through, not sort of dancing around. Would that be the right way to explain that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the reason that you feel anything typically is because the cellular structure is agitated to some degree. So it's giving a signal to the brain that something is out of normal. All right. And so just like when you smash your finger with a hammer, that's out of normal. A lot of tissues are giving some screaming signals to the brain. So the neurological system is now transmitting information differently, instead of, just like if you don't feel your stomach unless there's a stomach ache, right? So there's no signals being sent until there's some alert. And we really do not, let me repeat, we really do not want the body to be on alert when we're running Healy, because Healy is a system that works synergistically with the natural state of the cell, not the agitated state of the cell. When we run a TENS unit, you're familiar with the TENS unit that actually physically contracts the tissues of the muscles and skin. That's an involuntary action. There's benefit to that in terms of moving fluid getting nutrients in and waste product out, but it's agitating all those cells, and the cells are on alert. So from the cell level, we're not doing the same repair and recovery as we would with Healy. Healy being speaking to the cell systems themselves. Okay, so that's pretty much why we don't really need to feel it tingly. We don't want to draw attention to what's going on. This is a very subtle system. It still works. Still 500% increase in ATP production, even when you don't feel it. Okay. Okay.
Great. No, excellent. Excellent. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to move on to, we're going to show, as we referenced earlier, our Healy World Americas page on YouTube. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Let me put the link into the chat here first. So if you want to take note of this. Okay, let me see. Okay. Share. All right, here we go. So can you see my page here, Freddie?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So if you go to YouTube and click on the link that I just sent here, that's where this takes you. So this is the Healy World Americas page on YouTube that we added about a month ago. So right now we have a couple 7 videos total, I believe. But this is something that every week now, our Tech Tip Tuesday call that Ken hosts, and then this call that we do most Thursdays, we're going to post the links or the recordings here, and they're going to be hyperlinked or indexed, or YouTube calls them chapters. So you can kind of skip right to certain sections. So for example, let's take a look at, we'll go to this January 6th call here. And you'll see, okay, this is, when this comes up, you'll see this is the agenda for that call, the type of things that we covered. And you'll notice here in the description, if you go to show more, so you'll see here, we've got timestamps basically of the different sections. So for this one, as we showed earlier, the clip. So if you want to say, okay, how do I replace the clip on my Healy? I have the current version that most people have is the plastic clip. I want to switch to the lanyard attachment, or just replace the clip itself. So if you just click on that timestamp, so it takes you exactly to the section here, and this is here how we kind of showed what was going on and everything. But you'll see if you just scroll along the time here, it kind of talks about what exactly we were doing during that particular segment. So it's very useful. Of course, we want as many people to join us on these calls live as possible, because you also have the opportunity then to ask questions live in the chat. But if you don't get the chance and you want to just review what we went over, or maybe you have someone, a customer or somebody in your organization that needs help with a particular issue. It might be here. You can send them the link to where it goes exactly right to where this starts up. They don't have to watch the whole video if they don't want to. So,
and I'll tell you, Jake, what makes this so exciting for everyone is because we're here on Thursday, 1 day a week, 3 p.m. Eastern. This is available 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. So again, let me just go back to this page here. So this is the call that we did on Tuesday. This is Tech Tip Tuesday that Freddie and Ken and I were on here. And again, this one's indexed as well, or hyperlinked. But this one, the questions that are listed on this particular, or the topics that are listed here, isn't everything, because some of the questions that we cover are just a few seconds. So it's not like every single one, but these are the main ones that we spent a little bit more time on. So it's definitely always helpful to watch the full video, because again, you get everything that we covered. But if you want to go back, maybe you were watching it live and you wanted to go back and review a specific section, this is an easy way to find sort of where we were on that call. So everybody in Healy in the Americas should be subscribing to this channel, because again, we're going to continually add more content. This call will be added to this page. We should have that up by tomorrow. But this is a great resource, something that everyone's been asking for a while, and we're going to continue to improve it, continue to add more content, add more detail, make it easier to search as well. So again, there's all kinds of great tips. And again, on Tuesday's call, we had covered some interesting topics, scanning the building, which is more powerful, the coil or the wristbands, which finger should I use on a resonance analysis? A lot of questions that come up that people, maybe they've never thought to ask or wanted to ask before. We cover everything. So it's definitely a great resource. Thank you, Ken, for starting that call up. I think beginning of last year, wasn't it right around then?
Yeah, it's going on 2 years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Jake, I just wanted to kind of piggyback on about, joining us here on the live calls. What we've noticed from time to time, as we may be focusing on a course on Tech Tip Tuesday, that is a chat base, right? The questions come in the chat.
Yep.
And so one question may lead to another question, right? And so that's what's beautiful about that, right? It's continuously learning. We're hearing what the field wants. And again, one person asks a question, we give an answer. The question and the answer leads to another question. So yeah, it's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, exactly. And so if you're new to YouTube, haven't subscribed, again, go to that link, click the subscribe button. You're going to have to create an account for this. It's very simple, easy to do. But that way you'll have simple, easy access to all these videos. And then the main page here shows all of them. So this is all the videos that we created. If you scroll over to the right, it kind of goes to the end. But if you go to our playlist, so say you want to focus just on Tech Tip Tuesdays, or you want to focus on Healy for Beginners or Beyond, you can click that playlist. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Click down here. But you'll see on the right here, the whole playlist comes up. And if you want to sit around for hours and watch all of our Healy for Beginners Beyond, feel free. Maybe you're on a road trip and you want to learn about Healy the whole time. Just have it on in the background. But it's a great resource. We're going to have it separated by category, Tech Tip Tuesday, Healy for Beginners and Beyond, and continue just to add more and more to it. And these results come up in the main YouTube search as well. So if we go to just YouTube here, and let's search for Healy building scan. Let's see what that. Oh, okay, there we go. Well, there's one here of ours. Oh, there we go. So these results do come up. If you do a search within YouTube, they don't necessarily go to the top right away because they're new. But as we add this content and more people subscribe and more people have more views on these videos, it's certainly going to be a great resource. And Kenny, I know you always like to make it a point when you're trying to find information on something, don't necessarily, if you're looking for a video, don't just Google it. Go to YouTube and then search from here. So rather than go to YouTube and search for any issue that instead of going to Google, go right to the YouTube homepage, click in the search up here, and yeah, anything to add on while we're on the YouTube?
Yeah, when you go to Google, Google operates with a search engine optimization protocol. And so if you were to type in what Jake just did, Healy building scan, you would find stuff on how to build a building under the architectural design of scan or something like that. You know what I mean? It'll pull. So maybe this particular video would wind up on page 30 of that search because it doesn't have a lot of press yet. But when you go to YouTube, it's going to narrow it down to just videos within the YouTube platform. So then, of course, it's that search engine optimization protocol is different. So I always recommend folks, if you're looking for a video, go to YouTube and search it, and then you're going to find it most likely quicker than if you're going to try to do it on Google. So just know that it'll show up eventually, but it may be way back there on the 30,000th entry. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing here. So we only have a couple minutes left. I'm just gonna do a very brief, I'll share the screen for the HealAdvisor app. And let me just go ahead and go back to.
While you're doing that, Jake, I'd like to address a question that came up in the background around the sticky pads when you guys were talking about sticky pads and application. And the question was around, can we put the sticky pads on our face? And because, look at the skin programs. The skin's a program is for the entire skin organ, not just your finger, your arm, or your leg. And so maybe there are issues or conditions with the face. And so the key thing about the sticky pads is that, one, they're not placed on any skin surface that's irritated already. Okay, so if there's a rash, a lesion, a cut, a blister, or even a bruise, don't put the sticky pads on that surface. Two, the sticky pads need to be within 6 inches apart. Okay, they can be closer, but no further away than 6 inches apart. So yeah, you can put them on your face. Keep them away from your eyes, and I'll tell you why. If you place the sticky pads anywhere near the optic section of the head, near the brain, certain frequencies you'll actually see, and they kind of maybe freak you out a little bit. So in other words, those frequencies are interacting with the optic nerve to the brain. And so with your eyes open or eyes closed, you'll actually see a pattern of frequencies, a waving sensation. And if you're walking or you're doing something, that may tend to throw you off balance. So just stay away from the eyes. Now, I'm not saying you can't do that. It's just that just know that there are conditions in which it may affect your balance. So you are the experiment. I'm always putting this back on the individual. You are the experiment. There's no reason you can't experiment in that way. Just make sure you're in a safe environment, a safe space. You're not operating heavy machinery or driving a race car, none of that kind of stuff. So just be responsible when you're doing that. And then definitely take down your own notes. Be your own alchemist. Okay. All right. That's all. I wanted to clarify that. And people ask me that all the time.
Yep. Thank you, Ken. Okay. Let me just close out here. Okay, we are going to go to the HealAdvisor app. So actually just found out today that there is a new version of HealAdvisor, an update coming. It was submitted to the app stores today, so I think it should be available to everybody tomorrow, the 1.7.4. So it's not a huge overhaul, but there's a little bit of changes that'll be made, search enhancements, make it a couple different welcome screens and things like that, which we can go into or cover on a future call. But in general, so as we mentioned earlier, if you have a Healy and you want to change the current of your Healy from low to high, maybe you just got it. Everybody has access to HealAdvisor, this app. So a lot of times people refer to it as HealAdvisor Search because that's the main app that most people have. Everybody new that's joined since July 7th has HealAdvisor Search included with their Healy. And then anybody before that, it was an add-on purchase for a one-time fee. But the majority of people now have already purchased it because it was like $30 or $40 one-time fee. So it's definitely a great resource. But HealAdvisor is where all these subscriptions live. So you'll see here, I have the animal subscriptions, bioenergetic vitalization, digital nutrition, AKA DNA, then HealAdvisor Search on the bottom. So this section here on the bottom is what most people have or what they see when they first open up their HealAdvisor app. But everybody, again, even if you don't have any subscriptions, you can download the HealAdvisor app. You log in using the same information that you do all of your other accounts. You can go to the settings on the bottom right, the little gear icon. And if you go to Healy configuration in this section here, this is where you adjust the current level. And you can see here again, we showed where you can see if you have high or low within the Pink Dot app, but here it's a more graphically friendly section. And it'll tell you if you are set with the green check mark next to high current or low current. So I have a lot of devices because we have a lot of demo devices tied to my account that we use at our events. But again, it's very simple to do if you want to switch from low to high or switch from high back down to low. Maybe you thought that you wanted to increase it to high current, you did it, and you're like, oh, it's too strong now. You just go back in here, do the same thing, and reverse it. But so if you click on switch, it's going to ask you if you want to change the current level of your Healy, and then the little short video shows right behind there that shows you what you need to do. Once you change it here, you actually have to log back in to your Healy Pink Dot app, check for updates, have the update process in that app in order for the new configuration change to go into effect. So if you change it here and don't go in your Pink Dot app and check for updates, nothing will have actually changed within as far as the setting goes, whether it's lower versus high. So yeah, this is very simple to do. But again, I think it's another one of those things that most people probably, when they get their Healy, aren't really aware of that it is defaulted to low current, and there is an option to change it to high, and it's how exactly you do that. So we're certainly will do a better job in the future of communicating that to new users or existing users of how to do that. But it's simple to do, very easy to do in this section. Freddie,
you guys probably noticed. I wanted to add to that there that you probably noticed while Jake was talking there after he clicked on the switch that there was a little video playing in the background, right? That's actually showing you literally step by step how to activate that particular condition that you just changed. I love that those little tiny things like that just kind of, but people are just like, well, don't know that that's actually a video instruction to tell you how to do it. That's what it is. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, on that top, these videos, taking segments from these videos, creating new videos for FAQs. 2022 is going to be the year of content for Healy, because we're going to put out all kinds of content, much more user-friendly FAQs, videos on how to do things, tutorials, all kinds of stuff, resources, because we know that's what everybody needs. This device is so powerful. The apps have so many features and benefits, and we're really gonna help you all get the most out of your Healys. So, Freddie, anything to add on HealAdvisor?
No, I just wanted to add that, since we started this, right, all three of us here really about 2 years ago, just seeing how more user-friendly all of our resources and tools have become, it's really exciting. It truly is exciting. I just can't wait for us to continue to grow this area.
Yeah, for sure. So again, as I mentioned, we're past time already, so no time for open Q&A again, as usual. But we'll go into the HealAdvisor search again in a little bit more detail on a future call. We have our recordings that are available on YouTube. We've covered HealAdvisor search. So if you go to this YouTube page that I just sent earlier, and go to the Healy for Beginners and Beyond, you can find segments where we covered HealAdvisor search in detail, how to add programs to a schedule, and how that whole process works. So yeah, anything to add before we close out here, guys?
Well, if you guys want to save the chat, I want to point out that go to the chat here. If you're on your PC, click on the chat button, and then at the far lower right of the screen, there are 3 little dots. Click on those 3 little dots, and there's a spot where you can save chat. So the links will be there. All the answers will be there. All the interaction will be there. So you guys can save that on your PC for later reference. So it's really handy to have.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, let me stop this here. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. And again, this recording will be made available on YouTube, on our YouTube page that we just showed you by tomorrow. Ken, we'll put this also on Telegram, our Team Healy USA group on Telegram. And yeah, please join us next week, Tech Tip Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely. See you guys then.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.